and they hated Anquetil because he won too much. So, and he was French, so Lance was American, and he won 7 times. So, it was not really a good spot to be in.
Nice. And when you look back over those great races, and you know, Lance evolved as a cyclist over time, and he sort of changed the way people rode, because all of a sudden he was riding such high cadence. What did you guys do in terms of adapting with Lance and with the other members of the team? You guys used the wind tunnel a lot. You did a lot of, besides just pre-riding the course, since other teams were starting to do the same thing, you had to change the game to always have one up. What did you add? Well,
basically, you know, we started and we always tried to reduce everything that could go wrong. And you know, it went. We changed Lance's pedal style, but that was in '99, because I thought that he really had the power, but he couldn't transmit that power into efficiency.
Right.
And so we found out that for him, riding those small gears on those long mountains was the most efficient way of conserving energy, and then only use his big power when he really needed it.
Right.
And you know, after that we previewed the courses, and we started with our own cook at the Tour de France, and then people to protect him from the spectators, which became a big problem at the end. And of course the wind tunnel, you know, and we always came here to test out equipment and position. And I think we got as close as it could get, because everything has a limit, and Lance's particular body shape was not ideal to really get in a stream position. But I think we tried to eliminate everything that could go wrong, and then it was just a matter of showing up at the race in good shape with a strong team and be prepared. And the biggest challenge actually was getting ready for the race.
Sure.
Once we were there and we knew that Lance was in good shape and the team was ready, except 2003, everything, all the other years were quite, I wouldn't say easy, but everything was under control.
And throughout that time, it seems like, you know, you go into an off season, and someone like Lance has a lot of distractions in his life. Was there ever a point where he got distracted and wasn't in the shape he should have been in going into the Tour?
Yes, yes. It became more and more difficult. You know, let's say, and that's ultimately, I think, also the reason why he retired, because cycling was just a part of his life.
Right.
And in '99 he was full-time a cyclist, but then bit by bit he became something more than a cyclist. And you know, he had a lot of other obligations, and in the off season it was difficult for him. You know, and every year he started the season later and later, and it was more and more difficult to get in shape. But he was smart enough, and he was professional enough to always know exactly, you know, this is the limit. I cannot push it any further, and now it's time to get going. And he was able to really shut off his other life, and about 2 months before the Tour really be 100% a cyclist. And I think he was talented enough that was enough for him to get ready for that big race.
What were your thoughts knowing that 7th year that was probably the end with Lance, and you coming into Paris, you had such a phenomenal run with this man, and knowing that basically it was probably going to be over, so you must have little mixed feelings going into that last day, and with these guys coming into Paris?
You know, I was not sad. You know, it was something that I had expected already a long time, and we even thought about it after 03 when he won 5.
Right.
That there would be a possibility that he wouldn't race anymore. But ultimately, after that 7th Tour, you know, it was a big party, and I was, on the contrary of being sad, I was very proud that I could be part of that history in sport, I would say. And you know, nothing lasts forever, and I think it lasted longer than everybody thought. So I was really pleased with what we've done, and you know, my big challenge after that was, you know, do it without him.
Right.
And that was something, you know, which was always in my mind, and I got a lot of I wouldn't say criticism, but sometimes some indirect hints from journalists and colleagues of me in Europe by saying, you know, well, you know, it's easy for you. You have the strongest guy.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really something I had to do. You know, I had to win at least one Tour without him, and when I could do that last year, it was that was a great feeling. That was then I really felt like, you know, there's not a lot I can do anymore for myself and to win races, and I retired again in August of '07, and my retirement lasted again 3 weeks.
Will you be back?
At the Tour de France, you mean?
Yeah.
I think next year we're going to be there. Yeah.
Okay.
This year was a bit too soon, and it was definitely something we had calculated. I didn't expect them to make that strong decision, because we have the defending champion on the team. But still, you know, it's their race, and they can do what they want. I don't think they made the right decision, but so be it. I think they helped us with their decision. They helped us to rebuild the team and to regain the credibility and the popularity of that team. So at the end, you know, I almost have to say thank you to the Tour for what they did, because they made my job in restructuring the team a lot easier.
I was going to say, you're the type of guy who seems like he makes lemonade out of any situation, and okay, you can't do the Tour this year, but you're able to rebuild your team and focus and maybe watch a Tour as an outsider a little bit and learn from that.
Yeah, and especially, you know, if we would have been accepted there, we wouldn't have been in Italy, and we wouldn't have won the Tour of Italy.
Right.
And now, you know, it's a race. Contador will probably never have the occasion anymore to focus on the Tour of Italy, so at least he has that. And next year, I hope he can do it again in France. But in the meantime, we have a little race in Spain in September.
Yes.
Of 3 weeks, and we will try to do it there again. So that would be something very unique.
When people look back at the Johan Bruyneel, Lance Armstrong connection over these last of the 7 years of winning championships, how do you want people to remember you guys and remember you as the Director Sportif?
Well, there's a lot of different ideas about our relationship, and a lot of people have said, well, you know, Armstrong was the guy and he was the boss, and I was the driver. I got that comment a lot in Europe.
We know better than that.
For me, it was a very special relationship, and it still is. I mean, I'm still in contact with him. You know, not every day like before, but whenever there's a critical situation in my life or something which happens in his life, we're in very close contact, and he consults with me and I consult with him, and it's not only about the bike, but also about things in real life. And I have learned a lot from him. I think I brought him a lot, and I brought him a lot of confidence and a lot of. I mean, I believed in him, and it made him really believe in something he didn't believe in.
Right.
But I have to say that I almost learned as much as from him. I mean, I don't know how much he learned from me, but I learned a lot from him.
Well, you believed in him before he believed in him.
Yeah, that's true.
That made a big difference.